Hi, everyone. So I had a topic prepared for today or tomorrow. I'm just going to do that next week because something came up today that I would like to talk about instead, and it has to do with a tax appointment. For some background, prior to me freelancing, we would just use TurboTax because it's so easy. It just walks you through everything. You put the numbers in, it does the work for you. I've been using TurboTax for years. I started using them in the military because I didn't know how to do taxes on my own, and I did not feel like going to somebody and sitting down and then trying to explain shit to me or whatever. So I always made sure that the taxes got done by TurboTax, and then when I worked for myself, Alicia found a place near us that she just drops the information off that they need, in usually January or February, and then we go pick it up a week or two later, and then that's that. But so we couldn't do that this year because we were just busy and didn't get around to it until this month. And so I guess you can't just drop your taxes off once it gets closer to the 15th of April. Because the words that they used were, it could get lost in the shuffling of paperwork. And I don't even know what the fuck that means. How do you lose shit? But anyways, the shuffling of the paperwork, that's so dumb. I think the appointment is mainly just in case they have questions. I don't fucking know. But anyways, they could have called with questions, but they didn't need to because Alicia does such a good job with organizing the information that they need, and it doesn't take them long to do it. Anyways, so I do not know anything about taxes. All I know is that I have to pay them, and this is so terrible. I feel God, I don't know a lot about a lot, but the point of this episode was I was fucking livid because I had overheard Alicia on the phone making the appointment, and they were and since it's going to be a sit down appointment, and I had heard that, and I was they're going to take me prisoner. I'm going to be there for at least a good hour, and I'm going to be trapped because they need me to sit there. So I'm just going to go into all of my thoughts and behaviors while this was happening, and then I'll interject some rational thinking that I did not have at the time. So the appointment was at 3:45 today, and I forgot about it until yesterday when Alicia reminded me, and I was oh, fuck. Because you guys know how appointments can be, and then you're just kind of thinking about it all day until it happens. And that's what I was doing. And then the closer it got, the more pissed I was getting. And so Alicia comes home from work, and she could tell I was irritated. And then she was are you okay? And I'm no, I don't want to go to this fucking appointment. I'm why do both spouses have to be there? Why can't you go? And she's because you need to sign shit. And I'm oh, well, can't I just go come in when it's time to sign something? I was trying to get out of it, but I couldn't. And I was not looking forward to an hour of my time being wasted because I knew what was going to happen, and what happened, it did happen. So we get there, and our appointment was at 3:45. I know that it's unrealistic to expect that when you go to a place and your appointment's at a certain time that you're going to be seen exactly at that time. I know that people run late and things happen. But the reason that we were given for why we wouldn't be able to be seen right away is because the person who's going to be doing our taxes didn't eat her lunch yet today. And so she's trying to shovel food in her mouth. And this is at 3:45 in the afternoon. And so what I'm thinking is, okay, so you don't know how to take a proper lunch. You don't know how to manage your time. You don't know how to stick food in your mouth while you're doing something. Come on. So we had to wait an extra 10 minutes so this bitch could eat her fucking food. And I wasn't rude about it. I was just thinking to myself, God, don't give people appointment times and then not see them on time for something as stupid as that. And the lady, oh God, when she finally came back and got us, she talked so slow. Almost like she was high. shy. But I don't think she was. I think that she just talks like that all the time. Excuse me, sorry. This bitch, like, holy fuck, man. She's definitely an ordinary person because it was obvious she didn't like sitting in silence or whatever. Like, sorry, this is all over the place. I'm just trying to come down from like my anxiety high. My thoughts were like, why the fuck do I have to sit here and watch this bitch do math? I don't want to do that. And I know that like she's going to try to start talking because they all do. I like almost every appointment I've ever gone to, they'll try to like get you going into like a conversation that has nothing to do about whatever you're there for. And I get that they have to, they want to build a good rapport and get people to come back. But like, look, either you add an extra $20 fee or you subtract $20 from what you have to pay for them to do your taxes for a social fee. So like, if you don't want to be social at your appointment, they should have a fee for that. Like either make us pay an extra $20 or deduct $20 or something and just like do what you're supposed to do and then we can leave. And I know that that's stupid and that's never going to happen, but like this bitch just wanted to talk about bullshit and she talked so slow. She moved slow. Oh God, I was dying inside. Like, and I'm in there with my hoodie and like my hat on, having like multiple hot flashes, and I'm not taking my hoodie off because I didn't put a bra on because I don't usually wear bras anymore unless I'm wearing just a t-shirt out in public. So I was sitting there like sweating and she was moving slow and Alicia was like answering her questions and stuff. And then the lady was like, oh, what are you going to school for? Oh, I'm talking to my wife. Oh, what are you going to do after that? And then she was talking about, oh, the couple I saw before you guys was like really dry. Like, they must have been bored or something. And I was like, yeah, this is boring. Like, I didn't say she was boring, just this process is boring. So I was hoping that by saying that would clue her into, okay, let me just get this done and get you guys out as quick as I can. But no, I guess in her mind, she thought that, oh, she's bored. Let me see if I can charm her and get her to come out of her shell. Inside. Like outside, I'm sitting there. I have my leg shaking, but she can't see. Like, I just have that one leg that just to keep like shake. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. And I had my hands in my pockets and I'm like just looking at the desk and looking anywhere but at that lady. And I look normal on the outside, I think, but on the inside, I have stabbed her 5 separate times, like 5 separate situations. I had all these scenarios I was playing out. Well, at one point I pushed her off a cliff in my head. I was screaming like I was in a rage room inside my head, like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's all I want to tell people to do is shut the fuck up. Like, I'm paying you to provide me a service and I appreciate your service so much because that means I don't have to do it. But you're getting my money. So can you just not talk about dumb bullshit that doesn't have anything to do with taxes? Like, come on. And then she was like, then we get to my part, which was the self-employment stuff. And she's like, oh, okay. So there's like this thing here. What do you do? And I'm like, I'm a copy editor. That's all I said. And she did not ask any follow-ups. Although it was pretty funny because like she looked a little taken aback or something because like that's all I said. I wasn't going to, oh yeah, I really like copy editing. Yeah, I've been doing it for this long and like, oh, shut up. Like, no, I'm not fucking saying any of that shit. So she just started talking about something different and I'm like, oh my God, like half an hour had gone by and this bitch was just starting to put the numbers in the fucking computer. And like, thank goodness for Alicia because like she did all of the number stuff and whatever you have to do to prepare for taxes. She did it. Like, she's very good at that. And I don't know what I would do without her. I told her that, like, if I was by myself, I would have just kept using TurboTax. And if I made mistakes, oh, well, maybe the IRS was just going to come and get me then. Like, I was not going to go in person. I wasn't even going to go and drop them off and then pick them up because you still had to talk to people. And, you know, like, they'll keep you for 10 minutes and that's 10 minutes too long, like, every year. So Alicia does it because she knows that, like, anyways, that's not important. What's important is I did not kill anybody. We left. No police involvement. And I wasn't rude and I didn't cause a scene and I didn't embarrass Alicia. Because, like, in my head, I was just telling myself, don't embarrass her, don't embarrass her, don't embarrass her. Because I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, if she wasn't there, I probably would have said to that lady, look, I don't want to talk about anything that has to do with, like, if it doesn't have to do with taxes, I don't want to talk about it. I would have said that. I probably would have said it nicely the first time. And if I had to repeat myself, I wouldn't be so nice. But since Alicia was there, I did not want to embarrass her. So I just kept dying inside and then screaming and then murdering people. By people, I mean that lady. It was just a mess inside my head. This is at a fucking tax appointment. An hour. Like, people do this shit all the time and don't have any problems with it. Like, I was looking around, not to mention the sensory bullshit, because they had the heat cranked up and it's like 65, 70 degrees outside. It was like I was melting in that place. I should not have worn that hoodie. I was melting. It was so fucking hot. There was like 5 other people. It was like this just open area with like all these desks and people meeting with like customers or whatever. And they had 70s music blasting in the background. They had like a light show, like, you know, a Halloween. They've got like those little machine things that you point at your house. And then at night, like, I don't know, like there's like I don't know what the fuck it is, but it projects like image. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to keep moving on. And that's what they had going in a fucking tax place. And so I had to listen to the 70s music. I had to look at the fucking strobe lights going all around. Like, it was so bizarre. Like, why? The heat was cranked up. These people, like, they weren't very old. I mean, like, you know, they were middle-aged, most of them. There was just so many people talking. And then, like, the other customers that were sitting with, like, the other tax people, they looked like they were having a good time. Like, they were talking about stuff that didn't have anything to do with the taxes. And I just thought to myself, like, why? Like, why do you be, like, I get it. Okay, you probably like socializing. That's probably why you guys don't mind any of this shit. But, like, there's people that don't want to do this. And so, like, the last half hour of the appointment dragged and dragged because just when I thought that she was going to get through a part of the taxes, she talked about something that didn't have to do with the taxes. And, oh my God, it was so difficult to just be a mature adult. It just was. It was so hard. And so, like, this is all the stuff that's going on in my head, but, like, rationally, okay, like, yes, people do need to eat. They get busy days, especially at this time of year. A week before taxes are due, they're gonna be, like, they're probably just working all day nonstop. So she probably really didn't have time to eat. Although I think if she'd budgeted her time better, she would have. Like, I'm such an asshole. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't think that you should have to sit there for an hour and listen to somebody chat about bullshit. Like, if she just stopped doing that, we would have been in and out in 30 minutes. And no. So as soon as we were done, I got the fuck out of there. Like, it was just, oh my God, it was so bad. The good news was that, like, we don't have to pay as much in taxes as we did last year. So that was the good news. But, like, that hour felt like an entire day to me. And I didn't get on my phone. Like, I checked the time, but, like, I didn't want to just sit there and be on my phone because that would definitely be rude. I didn't want to do that. I just had so much anxiety going into the appointment. And then when I was in there, I had anxiety because of the sensory stuff, because of all the thoughts I was having, because this fucking lady was taking her time doing her work. And like, I'm in there, like in my head, like when all this other murder stuff was going on, like once the murder stuff like went away, I started thinking about, this bitch, like she's a nice lady. She's not a bitch, but she was to me in that moment, in that hour, because she was taking for fucking ever. But like, cut the bullshit out. Just, do you know how many people that you could see and get their taxes done in one day? Probably double the amount that you already see if you just don't talk to them about anything that's not tax related. You can still be polite to people. You can still build like a good rapport with them and not like have a dumb fucking conversation. I've done it. People do it all the time. Like, when I was an alcohol and drug counselor, like, I did not tell people about my private life because that is taboo. Like, you just don't do that. But you learn how to build rapport by focusing on what those people are there for. Like, I don't know. It just seems so easy to me. So, like, I did not like this appointment. And as soon as we got out of there, we both were like, we are never fucking doing our taxes this late again, ever. Because she didn't like it either. But she's more mature about it than I am. And she has way more patience than I do. Like, I was so high in my anxiety before we went that, like, she was starting to get irritated. And that's how I know that, like, I'm getting a bit much. I felt like a child. Like, this is what I did. I, like, dragged my feet when we got out of the car. I just, like, dragged my feet, literally, on the way to the building. I walked so slow. And then when I got in there and the person was like, she hasn't had lunch. She's just eating. She's putting some food in her mouth. And it was 3:45. That was not a good start to my appointment. And then 10 minutes I had to sit there and wait. And people were coming in and people were being seen before us. They had a 3:45 appointment. They got seen on time. But our person didn't eat. So we have to wait. Like, she could just fucking eat while she was doing them. Like, can't you do two things at once like that? Come on. This is all the stuff that goes on in my head when things like this happen. This is why I go out of my way to avoid appointments unless I absolutely have to have them. Like a dentist appointment, I'm fine with that because I get the gas when I go there. So it's a fun experience for me. It passes the time. I just don't like, and then I get confused sometimes because I think about like where I am in life and how like I've made it this far, but like I still have such difficulty like sitting through fucking appointments, even with Alicia there, which like I appreciate it because I don't know any of the answers to any of the questions that they ask. I don't know like anything about taxes, what this means, what that means. Like I pay them because I know that at least you're supposed to do that. Like I figure out most things in life by doing the bare minimum. Like if I do what's expected, I don't really have to know a whole bunch about it, if that makes any sense. So we treated ourselves to Burger King afterwards, which I don't know how good of a treat that is, but I don't feel like doing anything right now. And this is so weird because like we get home. What time is it? It's like, I can't see the clock. Oh, 6 o'clock. It's almost 6 o'clock in the evening here. And like, I'm going to be up for like a good 8 hours more, like at least until 2, I'm going to be up. But like, I've lost my motivation to do anything that requires much effort. So like, I have work that I could be doing. I'm not going to do that. I could be doing some writing. I'm not going to do that. There's a couple of like chores that like I would like to get out of the way, but they're not necessary to be done today. So like, I'm just not going to do them. And you know what? I'm not even going to take a shower. That's how little energy I have. Like once a week, I'll go like, it's usually on a Saturday or a Sunday without taking a shower. Cause it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, well, you guys know, not everybody takes a shower every day, but anyways, I don't even feel like doing that. Even though, like, it sounds like I have a lot of energy and I'm talking loud or whatever, like, this is just, like, the crazy in my head. This is just what it's doing. It's just making me sound like, I don't know, autistic. And you know what? I almost told that lady, because if she was going to ask one more fucking question, because she was trying to get me to talk and come out of my shell, like, I was going to be like, I'm autistic. Because there's a pretty good chance she wouldn't know really what autism is, just like a good portion of people don't know what real autism is. And I figured that would shut her up, but it didn't get to that point. Also, I had the thought of like, she could very well ask questions and then I'll fuck to myself. So I just kept my mouth shut. But anyways, so like, do you guys experience things like this at appointments? Like, this cannot just be me. And you know what's funny is like, you get 24 hours a day. And like, I'm bitching about 1 fucking hour out of that whole 24 hours. This 1 hour just ticks me off because I feel like I'm in prison. Like, you're holding me captive. I don't need to be there. You know, like, she didn't really have any real questions to ask. Like, you just need my signature? Well, I don't know. Like, call me and I'll come back for that. But like, I would rather go back again than have to sit there for an hour and endure that like pain. It was painful. Oh my God. That's all I had to say about that. Hopefully you guys can relate. I really had to get that out. I can't remember the last time I had to sit at it was when we bought our house. Was it like a couple years ago? We had to go to this one guy to make some payment on something. I don't remember, but like, it was just him in this tiny little office and he wouldn't shut the fuck up. And we were there for like an hour and a half with filling out paperwork. Like, that literally like should have only taken 20 minutes, but he kept us for an hour and a half because apparently we needed to hear all about his life. So not fun. I'm glad it's over. And a couple of random things. I don't know if anybody knows who, like, I'm done with this topic. Now I'm moving on. I don't know if anybody knows who Mayim Bialik is. If you ever used to watch Blossom, which if you're around my age, there's a good chance that you have. But she has her own podcast called Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, and I love it because she's hilarious. And I have heard other autistic people say that they think that like Mayim Bialik is autistic. And you know what? Like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm finally hearing people say this because I have thought this like a month after I found out I'm autistic. I was like, oh, Mayim Bialik is definitely autistic. And so her and Jonathan, I think Jonathan's like her boyfriend. I think he's autistic too. And so they do their weekly podcast. And this week it was a longer podcast and it was like focused more on like relationship stuff. And it was a good episode, but I was just thinking the entire time, like, you're autistic. This is what, you don't know why you do that? I'll tell you. That's because you're autistic. Like, and she's got an autistic kid. Like, how do you not know you're autistic? Like, that could solve a lot of your problems of not knowing what the fuck's going on with you. Does anybody out there think, like, I can't be the only one that thinks this? And it's so frustrating because I just want to be like, hey, I just want to, like, contact her somehow and be like, dude, you're autistic. But, like, I know that that's not a nice thing to do because I tried telling a couple of people back in the day that, like, they had borderline personality disorder that was undiagnosed and that they should go see a therapist about it. And that didn't go over too well. So I guess it's not a good idea to tell people about themselves when they're not ready to hear it. Nor is it my business to do so, but I like to make it that my business. But anyways, I wanted to say that because, like, I really think that, like, she's autistic. I know she is. I just don't know, like, how can she be clued into this? Somebody's got to clue her in. And Jonathan's autistic too. Like, I don't know. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was this chat GPT stuff. So this is one of those things that I feel like I am the last to the party. Like, I feel like everybody's been, like, doing this and I just figured out how great it is. So, like, last night, a client messaged me something and she said something. It was like, she was like telling a joke. I don't remember what it was. And I did not know how to reply to this joke because, like, you have to say something. I don't know. I was just like, I just didn't know what to say. So then I had this thought, and I was like, oh, let me go ask this like chat thing, the GPT website or whatever. There's like multiple ones, but I went to the one that I use and I typed in, give me 5 different responses and I typed in like the joke, and it gave me responses, and I used one of them, and she thought it was funny. Like, this is so sad that this thing, like, I think ChatGPT may be giving me some social skills because, like, it is so fucking useful. And it's scary, too, because I don't know, technology is getting way advanced. Like, I cannot believe that there's technology that can do stuff like this. Like, you ask a question and it gives you specific answers in a matter of seconds. That's insane to me. But I did figure out that, like, this is going to help me, like, with so many things, like, communication related. So I don't know if anybody hasn't tried that. I would recommend it because it was just so much easier to have a fucking robot come up with something to say to a human being than like an actual human being, myself, Oh my God, I gotta get off of this. I know this is random. I promise next week I have an actual topic that I'll get into, assuming anybody even is still listening. I don't know. Okay, well, I hope you guys could relate to this, and I hope I didn't sound too wackadoodle, and that you're like this too, because this has got to be autism. This cannot just be me. Okay. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.